My name is Gracie, 32 years old, and I'll never forget the moment my heart broke at my sister Emily's wedding. I'd spent years cheering her on, but when I arrived to celebrate her big day, I found my seat was a cold metal chair by the restrooms. Distant cousins and new friends sat at fancy tables with flowers, while I stood frozen, gripping my purse, as the wedding coordinator pointed to my spot. Walking out quietly that day changed everything between us. I'd love to hear where you're watching from in the comments. If you've ever felt unseen in your family, hit subscribe for more real stories like mine. Emily and I grew up under the same roof, but it felt like different worlds. With only 3 years between us, you'd expect us to be tight. But early on, I saw the truth. Emily was our parents' golden child, perfect in their eyes. I was just there. She had Mom's stunning blue eyes and blonde hair that glowed. I got Dad's dark hair and what Mom called my plain looks. It wasn't just looks that set us apart. Emily was the life of every party, making friends effortlessly. I was quiet, lost in books and schoolwork, not chasing the spotlight. Emily's a born star. Mom would beam at her dance recitals, where she sparkled in glittery costumes. My straight A report cards? That's nice, honey, they'd say, before gushing over Emily's latest win. Even so, I adored my sister. I was her biggest fan, front row at every show, helping with homework, and listening through her teen drama. I thought that's what big sisters do, give endlessly, no questions asked. As adults, the pattern stuck. My college graduation got a quick dinner. Emily's from a smaller school was a full family weekend bash. I buried the pain, telling myself families are messy. Then Emily met Robert in her last year of college. He came from old money, his family name on city buildings. Suddenly, she wasn't just the favorite, she was marrying into wealth. Robert was kind, handsome, and seemed to love her. I was thrilled for her, even if I felt the gap between us growing wider. When they got engaged after 18 months, Emily called me, squealing about her 3-carat ring. I shared her joy, ignoring my own rocky love life and modest job. "You'll be in the wedding, of course," she said. She didn't mention bridesmaid, but I assumed, as her only sister, I'd have a big role. I was so wrong. Wedding planning felt like a slow exclusion. Emily picked her bridal party, college friends, our mom's cousins, even Robert's sister, known for just a year. Over brunch, I casually asked why I wasn't included. "You're too busy with work," she said, avoiding my eyes. "And you're not into girly stuff." That hit hard, a sign my role would be small. But I didn't expect to feel so invisible. As the months passed, Emily changed. My sweet, if self-focused, sister became someone I didn't know. Wedding stress made her snappy and picky. "Gracie, the invitations must be cream, not white. Don't you get elegance?" she barked when I suggested a cheaper option. I barely recognized her, or maybe I'd ignored this side of her before. Robert's family took over, their wealth turning a cozy 100-guest wedding into a 300-person extravaganza. The venue shifted from a local garden to a fancy country club tied to Robert's grandfather. Emily shrank under their influence, bowing to her future mother-in-law's demands and Robert's traditions. But she never fought for me to be included. I thought I'd join the wedding dress shopping. Instead, I saw photos online, mom, aunts, and bridesmaids toasting Emily with champagne. It was last minute, she texted when I asked why I was left out. "Let's do lunch soon to make up for it." That lunch never happened. As the wedding neared, Emily treated me like staff. "Pick up napkins? Call the florist?" I did it all, no complaints, thinking it kept us close. I made gift spreadsheets, wrote thank you cards she said took too long, and addressed envelopes when her maid of honor bailed. "You're the best, Gracie," she'd mutter, eyes glued to her phone as I handed over finished tasks. Emily's words, "You're the best, Gracie," kept me going. I clung to those scraps of praise, hoping she'd see my efforts on her wedding day and give me a real place of honor, even without a bridesmaid title. I spent nearly $2,000 on a dress, way more than my teacher's salary could handle. The dusty blue gown matched the wedding colors perfectly, not stealing the bridal party's shine. I also got a pricey crystal picture frame as a gift and chipped in for their honeymoon fund. It stretched my budget thin, but I thought it showed my love for Emily. As the rehearsal dinner neared, I still didn't know my role. I wasn't invited to the rehearsal, just the dinner after, where I sat with distant relatives. Emily and our parents were at the main table with Robert's family. That night hinted at what was coming, but I couldn't imagine how much the wedding day would hurt. Emily's wedding morning was perfect, like the universe wanted her day to shine. I woke early, excited but nervous, determined to support her. I got to my parents' house by 7 a.m. as asked, ready to help Emily and her bridesmaids prepare before heading to the venue. The house was alive with chaos. Hairstylists and makeup artists filled the living room. Mimosas flowed, music played. "Gracie, you're here," Mom said, stressed. "Good. Grab the bridesmaids' garment bags from the basement and pick up lunch at 11 o'clock. No hello, no drink offered, just chores." I nodded, heading downstairs, hearing laughter from the living room. The bridesmaids were there, cousins Sophia and Vanessa, plus Emily's college friends I barely knew. They wore matching silk robes, snapping selfies and chatting about the bachelorette weekend I wasn't invited to. I steamed their dresses for an hour while they got glammed up. No one arranged styling for me, so I'd have to do my own makeup later, if I found time. "Hey, grab my phone charger from the car?" Vanessa called, barely glancing at me. I felt like hired help. At 9 o'clock, I caught Emily at Mom's vanity, her makeup artist at work. "Morning, Em," I said, forcing a smile. "You're gonna be a stunning bride." She glanced at me in the mirror. "Thanks. Did Mom say Grandma needs help with her dress buttons?" "We're all too busy." "Sure, I'll handle it," I said, hiding my hurt. "Your hair looks amazing." "The curls are already dropping," she grumbled, touching a perfect strand. "And my eyes are too smoky," I said, subtle. I told her she looked flawless and left before my feelings showed. In the kitchen, I texted my boyfriend, Mark, to confirm our church meetup. His reply hit hard, "Sorry, babe, work emergency. Can't make it." "Congrats to your sister." I stared, crushed. After 8 months together, I needed Mark there for me, someone to share the family tension with. Now I'd face Emily's day alone. I took a deep breath, pocketed my phone, and kept working. I drove to Grandma's assisted living place, helped her into her fancy outfit, did her hair, and brought her back. By then, the bridal party was posing for photos in the backyard, all in matching robes. "You're back," Mom said. "Load Em's dress in the car. Don't let it wrinkle." I settled Grandma in the living room, then grabbed Emily's gown, a lace and tulle masterpiece worth more than my 3 months' pay. Carrying it downstairs, I overheard bridesmaids in the kitchen. "Weird her sister's not a bridesmaid, right?" one whispered. "Not really," said Emily's college friend. "Emily says they're not close. Plus, Gracie's kinda plain next to her. The photos look better with photogenic bridesmaids." Their words stabbed me. I froze, clutching the dress, tears welling up. Did Emily really see me as the plain sister who'd ruin her photos? I pulled myself together, walked into the kitchen, and asked for help with the dress, pretending I heard nothing. The morning dragged on like that, me handling tasks while others celebrated. I drove alone to the venue, using the time to put on makeup and psych myself up. The country club was breathtaking, its ballroom glowing with white roses and crystal decor. The ceremony would be in the garden, with neat rows of chairs and a floral arch for Emily and Robert's vows. I got there early, ensuring Grandma had an aisle seat for her needs. I fixed Emily's train before her walk down the aisle, tucked a loose curl in her hair, and lent the best man a pen when the marriage license pen vanished. All the while, I stayed in the shadows, unmentioned in the program or by the officiant thanking the family. Just before the ceremony, Emily grabbed my hand, nervous. "I'm freaking out," she whispered. I smiled. You're stunning, Em. Robert's going to lose it. She hugged me tight, saying, "Thanks for everything, Gracie." That moment felt like the sister I knew, giving me hope our bond still mattered. I sat alone for the ceremony, hopeful the reception would let me celebrate with her. I didn't know the worst was coming. The ceremony was gorgeous. Emily glided down the aisle with Dad, like a bridal magazine cover. The garden glowed with late afternoon sun, trees casting a golden light. Robert's face lit up with love when he saw her, making me tear up. Despite our family issues, their love felt real. I sat in the fourth row, not with family but not totally outcast. I focused on their joy, pushing my hurt aside. Their vows were heartfelt, and I felt happy for Emily as they became husband and wife. After, during cocktail hour, I helped Grandma through the crowded terrace, got drinks for older relatives, and fixed Emily's train for photos. The photographer didn't call me for family shots, but I told myself it was okay, formal photos needed to be quick, and candid ones would come later. As cocktail hour ended, guests checked envelopes for table assignments. I didn't get one. Thinking it was a mix-up, I went to the welcome table. "Hi, I'm Gracie, the bride's sister." I didn't get a seating card. The planner's eyes flickered, not with respect. "Right," she said, checking her tablet, hesitating. "Let me show you." Instead of giving me a table number, she led me into the ballroom. Elegant tables with white linens and rose centerpieces surrounded a dance floor. She walked past them all to the back. "Here," she said, pointing to a lone metal folding chair by the restroom doors. I stared, shocked. Unlike the fancy Chiavari chairs, this was a plain metal one, no cushion, no table, no place setting. "This must be a mistake," I said, voice quiet over the crowd's noise. The planner looked uneasy but firm. "No mistake. The bride finalized the chart yesterday." She pointed to a calligraphy mirror with seating assignments. Dazed, I found my name at the bottom in tiny script, Gracie, restroom chair. It wasn't an error. Emily, my only sister, chose to put me by the bathrooms, alone. Guests around me admired their beautiful tables. I saw holiday-only cousins at prime spots near the front. Our parents' neighbors, who knew us forever, had better seats. Even Robert's old roommate, who barely knew Emily, sat with friends. My sister had sidelined me. Stunned, I approached my parents at the head table. "Mom, there's a problem." "I'm seated by the bathrooms," I said, trying to stay calm. She glanced at the chair, then at me, her face briefly concerned before turning cold. "The tables were tight," she said. "Emily and Robert handled seating." "Don't make a fuss, Gracie. It's her day." "But I'm alone by the bathroom on a metal chair," I said, voice breaking. Dad tried to joke, "At least you've got a seat." Some weddings, people stand. Tears stung, but I held them back. Guests stared, some pitying, some judging. "Fine," I said, retreating to avoid losing it. Each step back to that chair felt heavier. The cold metal chilled through my dress as I sat, trying to look dignified in my humiliation. I could see the whole reception but wasn't part of it, just a watcher, not a guest. Soon, the chair's placement hit harder. Guests squeezed past to use the restrooms, bumping me, muttering apologies. Bathroom doors swung, sending drafts and smells my way. When dinner started, waiters skipped me, confused by my spot. I had to flag one down, explaining I was a guest, not staff, to get a plate. "Sorry," the waiter said, embarrassed. "I thought you were waiting for someone." He brought my plate, but with no table, I balanced it awkwardly on my lap. No one offered me champagne for toasts. I stood to see speeches and the first dance over the crowd. I held it together, though tears loomed. I overheard guests whispering about me. "Is that the bride's sister?" an older woman asked. "Why is she there?" "Maybe she arrived late," her friend guessed. "But you'd think family gets a real seat." Their words stung, amplifying my isolation. The worst came when a relative's kid, maybe 7, stopped by me. "Are you the bathroom lady?" he asked sweetly. "Mom said give $1 to the attendant, but I've got quarters." His mom yanked him away, horrified, but the damage was done. Nearby guests shot pitying looks my way. Emily glided through the reception in her flawless dress, greeting guests, dancing with Robert, blind to my situation. I tried talking to her, but photographers and friends swarmed her. Once, I got close. Can we talk about my seat?" I whispered. "Not now, Gracie," she said, scanning for bigger guests. "Sit where you're told. Don't make a scene." As I returned to my chair, I caught Robert's mom watching, frowning slightly. His family kept glancing at me, curious, maybe scornful. Did they know I was Emily's sister? Did she spin a story to justify my spot? I felt like an outcast in my own family. During a quiet moment, Emily's friend Jennifer approached, pity in her eyes, making it worse. "Hey, it's packed, right?" "Probably no table space," she said awkwardly. "Probably," I forced a smile. "You can stand by our table for the cake cutting," she offered, like it was a gift. "I'm good here," I said, clinging to my pride. As Jennifer left, I saw my reflection in the bathroom mirror as someone exited. My makeup hid nothing, hurt filled my eyes, my lips trembling as I fought for dignity. Memories hit me, Emily shining at piano recitals while I turned pages, her blowing out candles while I served cake, her art projects praised while my grades were ignored. I'd lived in her shadow, hoping my family would see me. At 32, I was still the afterthought, stuck by the bathroom. Mom passed by, chatting with Robert's aunt. She paused. "Gracie, smile." "It's a wedding," she said, moving on without waiting. Her dismissal confirmed what I'd always known, my feelings didn't matter. I was supposed to smile, support, give, and expect nothing back. In my costly dusty blue dress, watching others enjoy proper seats, something snapped inside me. The breaking point hit during the toasts. After the best man's speech, Emily took the mic, glowing, champagne in hand, to thank those who mattered. "I want to thank everyone who means so much," she started, scanning the room. "Our parents for this amazing wedding, Robert's family for their warmth, my incredible bridesmaids." She named Robert's grandma, her dance teacher, even the planner. My name never came up, not once, despite months of my help, a lifetime of support. It wasn't a mistake. As she finished, "Everyone here means so much to us," her eyes flicked to my corner, then away. She knew. Pain crushed my chest, stealing my breath. I sat frozen, hands clenched, as applause roared. A woman leaving the bathroom bumped my chair, mumbling sorry, not seeing me, a perfect summary of my place in my family. As dinner ended and dancing started, I was trapped in my corner. The DJ's upbeat songs filled the floor with happy guests. I saw it all, Mom and Dad dancing, prouder than ever, Emily and Robert circled by friends, Grandma twirled by an uncle. Everyone fit in, except me. A kind waiter, who'd brought me water earlier, approached. "Cake, miss?" "I can get you a slice first," he said softly. His small gesture of care nearly broke me. I thanked him, declining, my throat too tight to eat. As the night went on, bathroom traffic picked up. Guests shuffled past after drinks and dancing, forcing me to tuck in my feet or stand to let them through. My chair became a topic of gossip. "Who's that by the bathroom?" one of Robert's relatives whispered. "The bride's sister, I think," another replied. "Not sure why she's there." "Family drama?" "Must be," they agreed, eyeing me curiously. The bride seems so sweet, though. Their words cut deep. Even strangers thought I must have earned this treatment. A story was forming, sweet Emily versus difficult Gracie, not even worthy of a real seat. Desperate for escape, I checked my phone. Mark's text read, "How's the wedding? As bad as you feared?" His flippant words, after ditching me, felt like another betrayal. Scrolling social media to avoid guest stares, I saw Jennifer, a bridesmaid, posting live wedding photos. One captioned, "Perfect day for a perfect couple #Emily and Robert forever," showed Emily laughing with bridesmaids, women she'd known far less than me. Yet they were central, while I sat by the trash. Loud laughter pulled my gaze to a nearby table. My cousins Sophia and Vanessa, with other bridesmaids, glanced my way, then quickly looked away, their faces mixing embarrassment and amusement. Were they mocking me? Paranoia surged, making me feel like a sideshow, the pitiful sister everyone noticed. I needed to breathe. I stood abruptly, heading for a side door to the terrace, craving a moment alone. As I passed the head table, Mom called, "Gracie, where are you going?" "Cake cutting soon." I turned. "Just need air, Mom." Her eyes narrowed. "You're not upset about the seating, are you?" Tables were tight. Tight for me, but not distant cousins or Robert's old roommate, I said, hurt seeping out. "You're overreacting," she snapped. "It's Emily's day, not yours." Those words, so familiar, hit hard. Nothing was ever about me, my milestones, needs, always second to Emily. "When has anything been about me?" I asked softly, not expecting an answer. Mom's face hardened. "Not the time for your episodes, Gracie. Act like an adult." An episode, that's what she called my pain, like feeling hurt was a flaw, not a response to being dismissed. On the terrace, I gulped cool air. Garden lights glowed, a beautiful contrast to the ugliness inside me. Leaning on the stone railing, I let tears fall, finally free from holding them back. The door opened behind me. I wiped my face, expecting Mom's lecture. Instead, it was Jennifer, cautious, like I might break. "You okay?" she asked. I almost laughed. "I'm fine," I lied, a reflex from years of hiding pain. Jennifer hesitated. "That bathroom chair's messed up." I asked Emily, and she mumbled about table counts, but our table has space. Her words confirmed it was no accident, Emily chose this. "It's just how it is," I said, clinging to dignity. "I'm used to being overlooked." "You're her sister," Jennifer said, baffled. I'd never treat my sister like that at my wedding. Her support only showed how broken my family was. Normal sisters were valued, not stuck by bathrooms while strangers got prime seats. "Our relationship's complicated," I said, understating it all. Jennifer started to speak, but the DJ announced the cake cutting. She glanced back, torn. "Go," I said. "Don't miss it." She gave my arm a squeeze and left, leaving me with years of buried hurt. Alone, watching the party through the windows, I faced the truth I'd dodged forever. This wouldn't change unless I did. No amount of love or sacrifice would earn my family's respect. They'd shown me my place, by the bathroom. I couldn't change their view, but I could change my response. Alone on the terrace, watching the party through glass walls, clarity hit me like a lightning bolt. Pain sliced through years of denial, showing me the truth. I'd spent my life chasing approval from a family that couldn't give it. I measured my worth by their eyes, begging for love that should have been free. And where did it get me? A metal chair by the bathroom, excluded from Emily's big day, forcing a smile through the hurt. For once, guilt didn't flood me for resenting my family. Instead, a new feeling surged, anger. Not the small frustrations I'd allowed before, but deep, burning anger at my parents' favoritism, Emily's cruelty, and myself for accepting it so long. This wasn't just about a chair. It was 32 years of being less, my feelings brushed off as overreactions, giving everything for crumbs in return. I took a deep breath, stood tall, and decided. No scenes, no fights, I wouldn't let them call me dramatic. I'd leave quietly, with dignity, choosing myself for the first time. Before going, I needed Emily to know why, not to ruin her day, but because real relationships need honesty. I grabbed my purse from that awful chair and found a quiet lobby corner. On hotel stationery, I wrote, "Emily, congrats on your beautiful wedding. I'm truly happy you found love with Robert. I'm leaving early and need to explain why. My seat by the bathroom, while others got real tables, showed me how you value me. This isn't just about a chair, it's years of being an afterthought. I've always supported you, been there for you. I deserved better today and always. I hope you'll understand someday. Wishing you and Robert joy. Love, Gracie." I folded the note, wrote Emily's name, and gave a waiter $20 to deliver it in an hour, avoiding her big moments like the cake cutting. As I grabbed my wrap to leave, Jennifer spotted me across the lobby. "You're going?" she asked, concern clear. I nodded, done pretending. "It's best." "Because of the seat?" she whispered, though no one was near. "Because I deserve more than a bathroom chair at my sister's wedding," I said honestly. Jennifer's face shifted to shock. "That was on purpose?" "I thought it was a last-minute mix-up, maybe because your date cancelled." "No," I said softly. "The chart said restroom chair by my name. Emily and my parents knew all night." "That's awful," she stammered. "Why would she do that to you?" I shrugged, too drained to guess Emily's reasons. "Our family's always been uneven." This just made it clear. "Do you want me to tell her you left?" Jennifer asked. "I wrote her a note," I said. "Please don't mention seeing me go. I don't want to be called dramatic for leaving a disrespectful situation." She nodded and hugged me. "You seem like a great person. Emily's lucky to have you, even if she doesn't see it." Her kindness, from a near stranger, brought tears. "Thanks," I said. "That means a lot." I slipped out during the father-daughter dance, as butterfly kisses played, fading into the night air. Driving away, emotions swirled, grief for the sister bond one never had, fear of the blame to come, but mostly, relief. I'd faced the truth, not the pretense I'd lived with for years. The drive home felt dreamlike. Emily danced with people who seemed to value her, while I drove dark roads, tears blurring my view. Each mile from that chair lifted a weight I hadn't known I carried. At my apartment, my phone buzzed. Mom's texts, "Where are you?" Family photos. Then, "This is selfish, Gracie. Emily's asking for you." Dad's, "Your mom's upset. Call now." I silenced it, changed out of my costly dress, and hung it up, unsure I'd wear it again. The dress, streaked makeup, and loose updo felt like relics of someone else's life. I made tea, sat by my window, and watched city lights, letting buried emotions rise. Sadness lingered, but clarity and a spark of freedom grew. For once, I'd chosen myself over endless giving. Around midnight, my phone wouldn't stop ringing. Emily's name flashed, call after call, but I let them go to voicemail. Then her texts flooded in, "Where'd you go?" "Everyone's asking about you." Jennifer told everyone about the bathroom chair. "How could you ruin my wedding? Call me now." Her words showed her focus, my absence hurt her image, not why I left. I shut off my phone and went to bed, drained but oddly calm. Tomorrow would bring drama and blame, but tonight, I chose my peace. As I drifted off, a truth hit me, leaving that chair wasn't just leaving a wedding. It was breaking free from a lifetime of being pushed aside, the first step to valuing myself. I slept, curious about what came next, ready to face it knowing my worth. Morning brought loud knocking. Groggy and raw, I checked the peephole. Emily stood there, still in her wedding dress, mascara smudged, far from yesterday's glowing bride. I almost didn't open the door, needing time to process. But the knocking persisted, risking neighbor complaints. I took a breath and let her in. "What are you doing here?" I asked, confused. "Shouldn't you be with Robert, heading for your honeymoon?" Emily brushed past, her once perfect gown crumpled and stained. She spun to face me, eyes red. How could you? She snapped, voice breaking. You left and ruined everything. I shut the door calmly, holding my ground despite her pain. I left a note explaining why. Did you read it? Yeah, I read your stupid note about a chair, she shot back. Do you know what happened after you left? I shook my head, clueless about what brought her here in her wedding dress. She collapsed on my couch, her gown puffing like deflated meringue. It was a mess. Jennifer told her table why you left, saying, Gracie left because they put her by the bathroom. People whispered, staring at me like I was awful. I hadn't expected Jennifer to broadcast my exit. I thought only family would notice, maybe with a flimsy excuse. Robert's mom cornered me, Emily went on, tears streaming. She asked if it was true. When I couldn't deny it, she looked at me with disgust, my mother-in-law, on my wedding day. I'm sorry that happened, I said sincerely, despite everything. I didn't mean for it to go public. Then you shouldn't have left, she cried, anger flaring. You should have stayed and not caused a scene. The scene wasn't me leaving quietly, I said. It was you putting me by the bathroom while distant relatives got real seats. That was the scene, Emily. My calm words seemed to soften her. She stared at her new ring, twisting it. You don't get it, she said quietly. Seating was tough. Robert's mom added tons of guests. Tables held 10. Someone had to take the extra spot. And it had to be me, your only sister? I asked. Not a cousin or some random plus one? She went silent, avoiding my eyes. Finally, she whispered, I thought you wouldn't care. You never complain. Her words stunned me. My years of taking the hurt, keeping peace, made her think I had no feelings to consider. My support was seen as having no needs, not love. What happened after Jennifer spoke up? I asked, refocusing. Emily wiped her tears. Everything shifted. People judged me. Robert's grandma asked if our family always treats each other like this. The best man's toast mentioned it, hoping Robert didn't join a family that ignores siblings. It was humiliating. That sounds rough, I said, feeling for her despite my pain. Mom and Dad were livid, she added. They blamed me for the seating, saying I should have found you a better spot, like they didn't know where you were all night and stayed quiet. That wasn't shocking but still hurt. Of course, they'd dodge blame once it went public. Robert kept asking questions, Emily said, voice low, about our childhood, why I'd put my sister by the bathroom. He looked at me like I was a stranger. For the first time, I felt a spark of empathy for Emily. Our broken family shaped her too, just differently. Being the favorite came with its own burdens. Where's Robert now? I asked. At the hotel, she said, miserable. We fought last night, our first as a married couple, instead of, she didn't finish. He said he needs to think about what kind of family he married into. On our wedding night. Silence settled, heavy with years of unhealthy family patterns. Then Emily looked at me, really looked. Why didn't you ever say how you felt all these years? She asked. I chose my words carefully. I tried, in small ways, but I was called oversensitive or dramatic. Eventually, you stopped trying. I didn't realize, she started, then stopped. No, that's a lie. I knew things weren't fair sometimes, but it was easier to accept being the favorite. It worked for me. Her admission, small as it was, felt huge. No one in our family had ever owned up to our dynamic. Did you really write restroom chair on the seating chart? I asked, needing the truth. Emily's face burned with shame. The planner asked where to put you when we were one seat short. Mom said the bathroom chair, since it's just Gracie. I didn't argue. I laughed when the planner wrote it as a joke. I thought only family would notice. Her honesty hurt but healed. It confirmed the cruelty I'd sensed, erasing doubts about overreacting. I've spent my life trying to matter to our family, I said softly. Yesterday showed me I never will. Emily cried again, quieter, more real. I've been an awful sister. I didn't argue. We needed this truth after years of pretending. Mom and Dad keep calling, she said. They want me to make you apologize for ruining the reception. They're saying the chair was temporary, that you'd join their table later. That's a lie, I said firmly. I know, she admitted. I told them I won't ask you to apologize. That's why I'm here, not at brunch with them and Robert's parents. I had to see you. My phone buzzed, Mom's name again. I ignored it, like the flood of calls since last night. They'll be mad I came, Emily said, eyeing the phone. They told me not to contact you until you apologized. I'm not apologizing for leaving a place where I was disrespected, I said calmly. Not to them, you, or anyone. Emily nodded, surprising me. I wouldn't either. She fidgeted with her ruined dress. What happens to us now? Good question. What do you do when your core relationships are broken? I don't know, I said honestly, but I can't go back to how it was. I won't keep giving everything for scraps. Emily nodded, her eyes showing pain but understanding. Could we ever be real sisters? Maybe, I said. But it'd take change from everyone, not just us. Mom and Dad would have to own their part, and I don't see that. Probably not, she said sadly. They're already painting you as the jealous villain who ditched my wedding. We sat quietly, grappling with what this meant for our future. I stood. Go back to Robert, I said gently. He's probably worried, seeing you here in your dress. Emily glanced at her crumpled gown. I must look crazy. She stood, smoothing it pointlessly. What do I tell him about us? The truth, I said. It's the only way forward. At the door, she turned. I'm sorry, Gracie. Not just for the chair, but for everything, for not being the sister you deserved. Tears welled in my eyes. Thanks for saying that. After she left, I turned off my phone and made coffee, reeling from our honest talk. The confrontation I feared became the truest moment we'd ever shared. The future was unclear, but something had shifted. The truth was out, no longer buried. Whether things would change was uncertain, but I had changed, and that was enough. 6 months flew by before I laid eyes on Emily again. Those months felt like a lifetime of transformation. Right after our raw conversation the morning after her wedding, I made the tough choice to pull away from my family completely. I needed space to breathe, to heal from wounds that had festered for decades. Stepping back wasn't easy, it meant facing the silence, the empty calendar spots where family events used to be. But that distance? It was a gift. For the first time, I saw our toxic patterns clearly, like stepping out of a fog I'd been lost in forever. I dove headfirst into therapy. I found a specialist in family dynamics through a recommendation from a colleague at school. Her office was cozy, with soft lighting and plants that made it feel less clinical. In our first session, I spilled everything: the favoritism, the wedding humiliation, the lifetime of feeling invisible. She listened without judgment, nodding as I talked. Gracie, she said gently, what you've described is classic scapegoat and golden child dynamics. It's not your imagination, and it's not healthy. Hearing that validation hit me like a wave. All those years, I doubted myself, thinking maybe I was oversensitive like they said. But no, my experiences were real, and they weren't okay. We unpacked layer by layer, the pain of being the unfavored child, how it shaped my self-worth, my relationships. Therapy became my anchor, helping me rebuild from the ground up. My family didn't make it easy. They insisted I was oversensitive, dramatic, you name it. Their reaction to my walking out of the wedding was exactly what I'd predicted: predictable chaos. The angry calls started that very night, voicemails laced with frustration. "Gracie, how could you do this to your sister?" Mom's voice cracked with accusation. Then came the guilt-tripping texts, "We're all worried about you. This isn't like you." Dad's were shorter, more commanding, "Call your mother. She's heartbroken." When I didn't budge, they escalated. They roped in mutual friends and relatives. Aunt Linda called, pretending it was casual, but slipping in, "Your parents are devastated. Can't you just apologize?" The message never changed. I was selfish, overreacting, ruining Emily's perfect day over something trivial like a chair. But I knew better now. I held my boundaries firm, without lashing out. In responses, when I bothered, I kept it simple: "I need space right now. I'll reach out when I'm ready." No arguments, no defenses. That calm stance drove them nuts more than any yelling match. It broke the cycle. They couldn't pull me back into the old game where I'd eventually give in to keep the peace. For once, I wasn't playing. Emily, though, she surprised me the most. I expected her to join the pressure campaign, but she respected my space. A week after our confrontation, my phone dinged with her text, taking time to think about everything. "We'll be here when you're ready to talk." No demands, no guilt. Just acknowledgement of my needs. It was simple, but it felt huge. In all our years as sisters, she'd never done something so considerate. It gave me a sliver of hope that maybe, just maybe, change was possible. Those months of separation let me rebuild my life on my own terms. No more centering everything around family approval that Chase had drained me for too long. I reached out to old friends I'd neglected, the ones I'd pushed aside for family obligations. Coffee dates turned into deep catch-ups. Sarah, my college roommate, hugged me tight when we met. "I've missed you, Gracie. You disappeared into that family bubble." We laughed over old memories, and it felt good to have people who saw me, not my role as the dutiful sister. I joined a book club at the local library, cozy evenings discussing novels with strangers who became friends. We bonded over stories of resilience, which hit close to home. Then there was the hiking group. Every weekend, we'd tackle trails, the fresh air clearing my head. One hiker, Mia, became a close confidant. "You seem lighter each week," she said once, as we paused at a viewpoint. She was right. I was forming connections based on who I was, not where I fit in some family pecking order. I even ended things with Mark. Looking back, our relationship mirrored my family mess, one-sided, me giving endlessly while he took. His last-minute wedding cancellation was the final straw, but therapy helped me see the pattern. When I told him it was over, he got indignant. "You're putting yourself first now? What about us?" His words confirmed everything. I'd made the right choice. No more settling for scraps. By the time Emily's coffee invite came, I was in a stronger place, more centered than I'd been in years. My heart raced a bit, nerves about reopening old wounds, but I wasn't afraid of crumbling anymore. We picked a neutral spot, a quiet cafe halfway between our homes. The place had mismatched chairs and the smell of fresh pastries, a far cry from the tense family dinners of our past. Emily arrived looking different, less like the polished golden child. Her hair was in a casual ponytail, makeup minimal, and there was a softness in her eyes, a humility I'd never seen. She seemed smaller, more approachable. "Thank you for meeting me," she said as we grabbed a corner table with our lattes. Her voice was tentative, like she truly wasn't sure I'd show. "I wasn't sure you would." I stirred my drink, meeting her gaze. 6 months ago, I probably wouldn't have. I needed that time to figure out what kind of relationship I'm willing to have moving forward. She nodded, no pushback, no defensiveness. It was refreshing. "And have you figured that out?" "Partly," I replied, keeping it real. "I know I won't go back to being the family doormat, always giving without getting anything in return. I can't be the sister who drops everything for you but ends up seated by the bathroom at your wedding." She winced at the mention, her face flushing, but she didn't try to brush it off or make excuses. "That's fair," she said softly. "More than fair." I shifted the topic gently. "How are things with Robert?" Our last talk had hinted at cracks in their new marriage, sparked by the wedding fallout. Her expression turned complicated, a mix of sadness and resolve. "We're in counseling," she admitted. The whole seating situation opened his eyes to our family dynamics. He had so many questions about whether I shared those values, if I'd treat people that way too. It's been really hard, digging into all that, but it's necessary work. We're getting stronger for it. That caught me off guard. I'd always pegged Robert as the type to slide right into our family's Emily-centric world, enabling the patterns without question. But him pushing back, challenging what he saw, that spoke volumes about his character. It made me respect him more. "And Mom and Dad?" I asked, though I could already guess. The silence before her answer said it all. Emily let out a long sigh, staring into her coffee. "They still insist you overreacted, that it was all a big misunderstanding. They even wanted me to use this meeting to convince you to apologize to them." My stomach tightened, but I kept my voice neutral. "And will you?" She shook her head firmly. "No. That's part of what Robert and I have been tackling in counseling, setting real boundaries with parents. It's not easy, standing up to them after all these years." Her words hung there, acknowledging our parents' role in the mess. For most of our lives, their blatant favoritism had been the wedge between us, lifting Emily up on a pedestal while leaving me in the shadows, scrambling for scraps of attention. It created a divide that felt impossible to bridge. But hearing her say it out loud, owning that it wasn't right, felt significant. "They're never going to change," I said, voicing what we both knew deep down. "They'll never admit they treated us so differently or that it caused real harm." "Probably not," Emily agreed, her voice tinged with sadness. "Dad stonewalled me for weeks when I refused to pressure you into apologizing. Wouldn't take my calls, acted like I was the problem." "And Mom?" "She still brings up the wedding incident as proof of your instability, like you're the one with issues. It's like they live in this alternate reality where nothing they did was wrong." We sat in a comfortable silence for a moment, sipping our drinks. For the first time, it felt like we were on the same side, united against our parents' blind spots rather than divided by them. "I've been thinking a lot about why I went along with the favoritism for so long," Emily said after a while, breaking the quiet. "I mean, even as a kid, I knew it wasn't fair to you. I'd see the way they praised me for every little thing and brushed you off, but I never said a word." I nodded, remembering those moments all too well. "You were a child," I pointed out gently. "It wasn't your responsibility to correct our parents' behavior. They were the adults." She considered that, then shook her head. "Maybe not when we were young, but as an adult?" I continued the pattern. I liked being the special one, the favorite. It came with perks, attention, praise, fewer expectations to sacrifice. It was easier to maintain the status quo than to question it, even when I could clearly see how much it hurt you. I chose comfort over doing what was right. Her self-awareness hit me hard. It was unexpected, and honestly, touching. I'd never heard her reflect like this. "What changed?" I asked, genuinely curious. She leaned back, her voice softening as she explained. "Honestly, it was seeing the look on Robert's face when he found out where you'd been seated that night. The absolute horror and disappointment in his eyes, it was like a mirror. For the first time, I saw our family through someone else's perspective, an outsider's, and I was ashamed of what I saw. I didn't want to be part of that anymore." She paused, gathering her thoughts. "And then these past months, I've been doing a lot of soul-searching. Thinking about what kind of person I want to be, what kind of mother I might be someday. I don't want to continue these patterns with my own family. I don't want my future children competing for love or thinking their worth is based on being prettier, more outgoing, or more talented than their siblings. That cycle stops with me." The mention of children caught me by surprise. Are you and Robert? I trailed off, not wanting to pry too much. She smiled faintly, shaking her head. Not yet. But we're talking about it seriously now. And that makes all of this even more important to resolve. I refuse to bring kids into these toxic patterns we've grown up with. I want better for them and for us. We talked for nearly 3 hours that afternoon, diving deeper than we ever had before. It was our most honest conversation, raw and unfiltered. Emily opened up about her side of the favoritism, the crushing pressure to maintain that perfect image, the fear that one slip-up would make our parents' love vanish. It was like walking on eggshells, she confessed. Always performing, always achieving, because that's what kept me on top. I shared more too, how the constant dismissal of my feelings and needs had chipped away at my self-worth, making me doubt my value in every relationship. I felt like I had to earn love, I told her, like I wasn't enough just as I was. Our experiences were worlds apart, yet we found common ground in the damage those patterns caused. We both wanted to break free, to end the cycles we'd been raised in, even if from opposite sides of the divide. As our coffees grew cold, Emily hesitated before asking, "Do you think you could come to Thanksgiving next month? Robert and I are hosting this year, instead of Mom and Dad. It would mean a lot to have you there." I took a moment to consider it, weighing the potential awkwardness against the chance for something new. "I can't promise anything yet," I said honestly. "Let me think about it." She nodded, no pressure in her eyes, a clear sign of her growth. "Take all the time you need. The invitation stands, no matter what." In the end, I decided to go to that Thanksgiving. It was my first family gathering since the wedding, and stepping through their door felt surreal. The house smelled of turkey and pie, the table set with Emily's careful touch, fall leaves and candles adding warmth. But tension simmered beneath the surface, especially with our parents. They acted like nothing had ever happened, chatting about the weather and work as if the wedding drama was ancient history erased. It was uncomfortable, that polite fiction, but I reminded myself I wasn't there to fix them. There were bright spots, though. Emily went out of her way to include me, pulling me into conversations about books we'd both read, asking about my hiking adventures. When I brought my famous apple crisp, she made a big deal of it. "Gracie's dessert is the best part of the meal," she announced, serving everyone a slice with genuine praise. It felt good, like a small step toward balance. The turning point came after dinner, as we lingered over coffee. Mom couldn't resist a passive-aggressive jab about my sensitivity over the wedding seating. "You always were so touchy about little things," she said with a forced laugh. In the past, I'd have let it slide to avoid conflict or exploded in defense. But not anymore. I responded calmly, my voice steady. "Mom, I was assigned a folding chair by the bathroom while distant relatives sat at proper tables with the family. That's not sensitivity, that's a reasonable response to being disrespected. I'm not going to pretend it didn't happen or that my feelings about it aren't valid." The table went dead silent. Forks clinked awkwardly against plates. Mom looked stunned, her mouth opening and closing like she couldn't process my directness. She wasn't used to me pushing back like that, without emotion clouding it. Before she could recover, Emily jumped in. "Gracie's right, Mom. What happened at the wedding wasn't okay. I've apologized to her for my part, and I think you and Dad should too." Dad immediately bristled, his face reddening. "Now wait a minute," he started, defensive as ever. But Robert, who'd been mostly quiet through the meal, stepped in smoothly. "I think what Emily is trying to say is that acknowledging when someone feels hurt is important in families. Gracie felt excluded that day, and that's worth addressing rather than brushing aside." His words were measured, supportive without attacking. It diffused the tension just enough to move on, though the air stayed thick. My parents never did apologize, not that day, not any day since. Some people just can't face their role in causing pain, especially when it shatters their image as good parents. They'd rather rewrite history than admit fault. But something fundamental had shifted in our family dynamic anyway. I no longer chased their approval or twisted myself to fit their expectations. I stopped swallowing my hurt just to maintain a fragile peace. Instead, I set clear boundaries about what I'd accept, and when those lines were crossed, I calmly stepped away, no drama needed. Over the past year, Emily and I have been building a tentative new relationship. It's grounded in mutual respect now, not the old imbalance where she'd take and I'd give endlessly. We check in regularly, share laughs over coffee, even confide in each other about life's ups and downs. It's not perfect, we still slip into old habits sometimes, like when she assumes I'll drop everything for her plans. But we're both committed to catching those moments and course-correcting, creating something healthier than the mess we grew up in. The greatest lesson from all this chaos? My self-worth isn't defined by how others treat me, even the people who are supposed to love me unconditionally. Family should be a safe haven, a source of unwavering support and acceptance. But when it's not, when it becomes a place of hurt and dismissal, you have both the right and the responsibility to draw lines that protect your well-being. Walking out of that wedding was one of the hardest things I've ever done, my heart pounding as I slipped away into the night. But it was also the most necessary, a pivotal act of self-preservation. Sometimes, the most loving thing you can do for yourself is to remove yourself from environments where your humanity isn't respected, where you're reduced to an afterthought. And ironically, that very act of self-respect can crack open the door for more authentic, balanced relationships to grow in its place. I still don't know exactly what the future holds for my relationship with my family. Some wounds run deep, may never fully heal no matter how much time passes. Some patterns are so ingrained, woven into the fabric of who we are, that completely overcoming them feels impossible. There might always be awkward holidays, unspoken tensions simmering under the surface. But one thing I do know for certain, I'll never again accept a folding chair by the bathroom, literally or figuratively, in any relationship. I won't settle for being sidelined, diminished, or taken for granted. I've claimed my worth, and that's non-negotiable. Have you ever had to walk away from a family situation to protect your self-worth? What boundaries have you created in your own family relationships? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your stories and support each other. And if this tale of mine resonated with you, hit that like button and subscribe for more real-life experiences that dive into the messy, beautiful parts of life. Remember, you deserve to be valued not just for what you give to others, but simply for who you are, flaws and all. Thank you for listening to my story, for sticking with me through the heartache and the hope. I wish you the courage to honor your own worth in every relationship, every day.